In the village of Umudike, there lived a woman named Neka, whose name meant Mother is Supreme. But alas, she had no child to call her own. Year after year, her belly was as flat as wood. Her arms were empty, her heart heavier than a grinding stone. The women in the market whispered behind her back, "Hey, yeah, what kind of wife cannot give her husband a child? She's like a tree with many leaves but no fruit." Neka would go home, sit by the fire, and cry hot tears into her cooking pot. Her husband Okori, though gentle and loving, could not hide his sorrow. For in Africa, a man without children is like a farmer without seed. How will his name continue? The day that broke her spirit came during the naming ceremony of her husband's younger brother's child. As the drum beats rose and women danced with ululations of joy, Neka stood at the edge of the crowd, clapping with trembling hands. Suddenly, one of the elder women turned to her and said, loud enough for many to hear, "Why are you dancing, Neka? A woman without a child has no place at a child's feast." Laughter scattered like dry corn husks in the wind. The words pierced her like a spear to the chest. Okori held her hand, but even his touch could not cover her shame. That night, when she lay awake listening to the silence of her childless compound, her heart bled. It was this wound, raw and unhealed, that drove her to seek help beyond the world of men. The following night, Neka went to the shrine of the river goddess Ezengwangi, offering white kola nut and a cock. With trembling voice, she cried, "Great Mother of Waters, Giver of life, wash away my shame. Let me carry a child, even if it be only one." The priestess, her eyes sharp like burning coals, spoke, "Woman, your tears have touched the river's heart. You shall bear not one, but 2 sons. But hear me well. These sons shall never be apart. If they are separated, sorrow will enter your house like harmattan dust. Guard this warning as you would guard your own breath." Neka returned home trembling, but with hope blazing in her chest. Time passed, and just as the river goddess promised, Neka's belly swelled like round calabash. The women of Umudike clapped their hands in wonder. When her time came, she gave birth to twin sons, strong, handsome, and cries that filled the compound. The first one was named Obinna, meaning father's heart, and the younger was called Uba, meaning wealth. From the moment they were born, they were inseparable. If Obinna sneezed, Uba's nose would run in the same way. If Uba laughed, Obinna's mouth would open in the same joy. The villagers marveled. "Hey, these twins are like kola nuts from the same pod. What one knows, the other knows." And Neka, remembering the priestess's words, watched them with both pride and fear. The twins grew tall and strong, running barefoot across the red earth, chasing lizards, climbing palm trees, always together. When they played Ayo game, one twin knew the other's next move. When one was beaten in a wrestling match, the other felt a sting as if the cane had touched his own back. Their bond became a proverb in the village. The heart of Obinna beats in Uba. The breath of Uba lives in Obinna. But as much as they were loved, they were also feared, for strange things happened. If one twin wandered far into the forest and stumbled, the other would suddenly fall in the village square. If one twin caught fever, the other shivered with sweat the same night. The women whispered, "Hey, whoa, these children are not ordinary. They are tied by the gods themselves." And always, Neka kept the warning of the river priestess locked in her chest. As the years rolled like the river, the twins became men. Handsome, clever, hardworking, they left Umudike for the city, where they built a business from nothing. One opened the shop, the other closed it. One wrote the accounts, the other collected the money. Soon they were known far and wide as the Okore brothers, owners of a great trading company. People said, to see them is to see success. 2 heads, 1 heart. They lived in the same house, ate from the same pot, wore suits cut from the same cloth. Even in the city, they were never apart. But as the elders say, no matter how sweet the cola, one day the chewing must stop. The trouble came with women. When Obinna married, his wife was a beautiful woman named Adeze, daughter of a rich family. She came into the household with pride shining from her forehead like palm oil. Soon after, Uba also took a wife, Ngozi, gentle at first, but sharp-tongued when angered. At first, all was well, but peace is like morning dew. The sun of greed can dry it quickly. Adeze began to whisper to her husband, "Why must you and your brother share everything? The business, the house, even your dreams. Are you not a man of your own?" Ngozi too began her poison. "Your wife's people laugh at you. They say you follow your brother like a shadow. When will you stand alone?" Slowly, the bond of the twins began to crack. At first, the brothers laughed off their wives' whispers. Obinna, my wife says I follow you like a shadow. Oba, mine says the same, that you cling to me like a vine." They would laugh, pour wine and drink together with Nkobi. But little by little, the seeds planted by their wives began to grow. Adeze and Ngozi, instead of becoming sisters, became rivals. When Adeze bought a new wrapper of fine Ankara, Ngozi would buy lace twice as costly. When Ngozi prepared pepper soup for her husband, Adeze would order goat meat pepper soup with extra spice just to compete. In the market, the women mocked. The wives of the twins compete like 2 hens scratching the same heap. The elders shook their heads. When 2 women fight, the firewood of the husband's piece burns quickly. One night, after a feast of yam pottage, Adeze pressed her husband. "My husband, you are a great man, yet you live like half a man. Must you share every coin, every plot of land with your brother? A tree that grows tall cannot remain tied to another. Divide the business, divide the wealth. Let each of you stand alone." The next week, Ngozi whispered the same thing to Uba. "Are you a man or a boy? Your wife's people laugh at me. They say my husband hides under his brother's shadow. Tell your brother the time has come to part ways. What belongs to you must remain yours." The words of women are like termites. They eat silently at the base of an iroko tree until it begins to fall. The quarrel came on a hot afternoon inside the big office the brothers shared in the city. Obinna said, "Uba, perhaps it is time we divide the company. You take half, I take half. Our wives will be at peace." Uba stared at him in disbelief. "Obinna, do you not remember? From the womb we were one. From the cradle we shared breast milk. From childhood we shared hunger and joy. And now you say we must divide?" Obinna's voice trembled. "It is not me. It is Adeze. She says people mock us for living like boys, not men." Uba's eyes grew red. "So you listen to your wife before your own blood? Has the market woman become stronger than the bond of the womb?" The quarrel grew fierce, words cutting sharper than machetes. For the first time, the twins raised voices against each other. The workers whispered, The sun has risen in the west, though. The Okore brothers are fighting." When word reached Neka in the village, her heart nearly stopped. She took her walking stick, tied her headscarf, and traveled to the city.
She found her sons in silence, each brooding in his room, their wives frowning like two storms. "My children," she cried, tears filling her eyes. "Have you not forgotten the words spoken before your birth? You two are bound by the gods. If you separate, sorrow will follow like a hungry dog. Have you no fear?"
But Adaeze folded her arms. "Mama, with all due respect, times have changed. Your sons are men, not children tied at the hip." Ngozi added sharply, "Even twins must one day walk on their own legs." Nneka wailed and tore her wrapper at the edge. "Ewo, have I lived to see this day, that strangers will scatter the bond of my womb?" But her cries fell on deaf ears. The company was divided. The houses, lands and money were shared. Obinna moved with Adaeze into a mansion across town. Uba followed Ngozi to another. At first, all seemed well. Each twin ran his own business, each wife puffed her chest in victory. But slowly, darkness crept in. Obinna's business faltered, shipments lost, customers stolen. Strange sickness fell on them. When Obinna coughed, Uba choked. When Uba shivered, Obinna sweated in the night. The bond of their lives was tearing like an old net, and with it, their fortunes tore. One stormy night, news came that Uba had collapsed in his home. At the very same hour, Obinna clutched his chest and fell. Both were rushed to different hospitals, but the doctors were helpless. As the clock struck midnight, both brothers breathed their last, together as they had entered the world. The next morning, the wailing of women shook the city. Adaeze and Ngozi tore their hair in grief, for they had not only lost husbands, but had become widows of shame. When Netta heard, she fainted. When she awoke, her voice was hoarse, but her words heavy. "Did I not warn you? Did the gods not speak? These sons were tied by destiny, yet pride and jealousy have torn them apart. Now, the earth has claimed them together as it birthed them together." Moral lesson: when the bond of family is broken by jealousy, ruin is never far. When the words of outsiders are louder than the voice of blood, sorrow will sit at the hearth. And remember this proverb: the rope of kinship, if caught, cannot be tied without a knot. So guard your bonds, whether of family or friendship, for some ties, once broken, drag destiny into the grave.